Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video I want to quickly give you some advice on which airport you should choose to come to Japan. So of course, you've already decided that you want to come here, but you probably haven't given much thought about which airport you should use. So when people are looking for flights, it's very common for people to just search, flights to Japan or flights to Tokyo, but then you don't really think, which airport should I use? So I'm someone that researched before coming to Japan so heavily that I came across the fact that there's two major airports to choose from, between Haneda Airport and Narita Airport. So I honestly couldn't find a lot of information on either airport when I was interested in coming to Japan initially. There were very few videos available, and the ones that were available, it was just people showing themselves going through the airport or showing you the layout of the airport, but nobody made a video talking to you about the challenges that you may face as an actual foreigner going through the airport yourself. It was just kind of you seeing, oh, this is me coming to Japan. Look at me, I'm at the airport. I am not going to make a video like that. There's no airport being shown here. But I want to give you some real one-on-one quick advice. So, quick answer, I highly suggest that you choose Narita Airport. And my reason for it is not only are there more flights for smaller or not as busy, heavily tourist or trafficked airports from Japanese people, but there's also more experience with dealing with foreigners, English speakers, and immigration matters that you have to deal with at the airport. So, to explain what I'm talking about, something that you probably haven't given any thought, depending on which, I'm speaking to you as though you are an American, but this goes for European people too. Just use your own cities, own whatever for your reference. I'm going to speak to Americans, but think about your own cities too. When you're trying to find a flight that connects to Japan, you're generally going to have to think about what places in your country are very popular for specifically Asian tourists, and in particular Japanese people. For example, I am lucky and I come from a major city that has tons of Japanese people, which is Chicago. A lot of Japanese people go here both for business and for school, as well as for travel. I used to be a tour guide when I was a teenager up until I left Japan. I worked as a tour guide and a pharmacy technician, so I kind of already knew this. But I never really considered that this is how flights go to. I knew there were a lot of Japanese people, but I never thought about it. If your city doesn't have a lot of Japanese tourists, is not popular with Japanese people, it's going to be really difficult to find a one-way flight, which means you're more than likely going to have to do connecting flights, have layovers, etc., which are not very fun. But beyond just that, if your city is not very popular with Japanese tourists in particular, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to get a flight that will connect you to Narita Airport, which means that you might, or excuse me, not Narita Airport, with Haneda Airport, which means that you might not have any choice but to use Narita Airport unless you want to go through a complicated mix of, different layovers, etc. From Chicago, I can choose a flight from Haneda Airport, or I can choose a flight from Narita Airport, but there are a lot more options if I choose a flight from Narita Airport for obvious reasons. People want to take a one-way flight connecting them to the biggest international airport. Whereas if I go at Haneda, the route that I took, I did a layover in Los Angeles when I first came to Japan. So you can do, a layover or a transfer at LAX, however you want to refer to that. It's your choice. So let's get into the actual facts about the airport. If you are someone like me that came here not knowing a lick of Japanese, I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't understand. I knew nothing but thank you, good night, and good morning, pretty much, and hello. Okay, with that said, it was definitely not the best idea for me to have gone with Haneda Airport. And the reason why I chose Haneda Airport is I watched a video telling me, oh, this is the secret airport that only the native Japanese people use because it's right next to Tokyo. You're literally there. It's like, 30-minute ride or whatever from Shinjuku. I was sold. Why would I want to take a longer route to get to Shinjuku? Well, to me personally, my opinion, different foreigners will tell you different things, that was a horrible idea. I wish I went with Narita Airport. I have gone to all of them. I've gone to every international airport in the biggest cities in Japan, being Osaka as well as Tokyo. And with that said, I speak from experience, having gone to these airports multiple times. I would always recommend Narita Airport, even although it is further away. Narita Airport is not really in Tokyo, but it's similar to how O'Hare Airport is in Chicago. It is not in Chicago, not even close to Chicago, but it's known as being Chicago's international airport. O'Hare is not anywhere near Chicago though. Alright, it's the same way here. Narita Airport is not actually in Tokyo, but it's known as Tokyo's international airport. So, the reason why I like Narita Airport better is they definitely have a lot more foreign-friendly staff. The staff is used to dealing with foreigners. They were a lot kinder to me. They were more helpful to me. There was more English signage. There was a lot more assistance. It was easy to navigate the immigration side of the airport. It just made it so much easier versus when I went to Haneda Airport and I was completely lost. It was definitely more of a veterans airport. in my personal opinion, even if you are completely fluent in Japanese and you are not concerned about it at all, I would still go with Narita Airport, because why make things more complicated for you than it has to be? And it's not just a matter of having the English availability, because let's be real, most of the staff could not speak English, but they were used to dealing with foreigners, so they had like a lot of help and signage and translation and just things that can help you out, and the staff were just in an overall better mood, which is sad to say it, but Japanese people, the real reason why they're so known for being polite and kind is because people tend to stay inside the touristy areas. And when you're in those areas, generally the staff there, they are used to dealing with foreigners, and they've been taught and trained to be happy, make Japan look good, etc. And with that said, they give you a very good impression of what Japan is like. It's the equivalent to going on a tour guide in a major city like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. Unless your tour guide is ready to quit their job tomorrow, they're more than likely going to be really excited, seem really happy, really energetic, friendly, and nice. Okay, that's how it is in Tokyo too, or Japan, period. If you go to any area that is used to dealing with tourists, they are used to tourist dollars, like tourist dollars are what's keeping them in business. They are going to worship you and treat you like a king and or queen. And for that reason, that is why I would say, that alone, that is why you should definitely, be going there. You're going to get much better treatment, much better service, and it's going to make your experience overall better than if you go somewhere like Haneda Airport where they're like, foreigner, like we're not used to seeing people like you. And it's sad that it works this way, but I'm just keeping it real with you. In my experience, when I went to Haneda Airport, while the staff wasn't rude, they definitely were not friendly to me, and they seemed almost irritated to be dealing with me. There was not a lot of English help. I felt completely lost, and to be honest, I didn't take anything super personally because I couldn't understand, and I didn't even understand Japanese culture at the time, so I wasn't fully aware of what the staff was thinking or feeling towards me. But I made some mistakes, and it was very obvious that the staff was irritated and pissed off at me, and the mistakes I made were very minimal. I was just in the wrong line. So yeah, and it wasn't like a super long line where I made a big mistake and it was holding up people or something. So yeah, didn't give me a good impression of Japan. That was my first experience actually dealing with Japanese people, because even seeing so many Asians, like people don't talk about that side of it. I'll make that for another video, but that was the biggest culture shock for me. Like beyond the food and everything else, I felt so freaked out because it's like, oh my god, there's so many Asians here. I've never seen so many Asian people in my life. So yeah, but back on subject, that is the reason why I would recommend going to Narita Airport. More foreigner friendly, and what I mean by that is more English availability. There's more gift shops, more stores. I think it's easier to, figure out like where to pick up your luggage. I think it was easier to find, your taxi, to find what bus to take, trains, everything. It was just so much more organized than Haneda Airport. Haneda Airport seemed like an old airport that needed to be renovated, whereas Narita Airport clearly had been renovated. It was updated. It seemed more, it was bigger, like just everything about it all around. So I know it's going to be further away. It might be a little bit more costly, but hands down, Narita Airport. That is my short answer for you. So if you are trying to save money, cut down on time, you found a cheap ticket, whatever the case is, then fine, go with Haneda Airport. You're going to be fine. They have English availability. You can go to either airport. But again, just telling you, if you're anxious, you don't speak Japanese well, or if you do speak Japanese well, but you want to have a good experience at the airport, and you don't want the staff to treat you like a jerk, because I don't care if you can understand the staff. Do you want to deal with staff that's rude, irritated, and not friendly because you're a foreigner? Or do you want to deal with staff that's expecting you to know nothing about Japan and it's going to be nice to you? Like, I see it as like the old grandma that you run into every once in a while as a foreigner here that loves to tell you common sense stuff that you know. For example, I went to the bathroom recently in Kyoto. It's always Kyoto. Kyoto people are so weird and rude. Went to the bathroom, fixing my hair in a mirror, old Japanese lady just staring at me, randomly says, "Oh, where are you from? I went to Los Angeles before." Had a whole conversation with me telling me about Kyoto culture, where I should go, and what's the best food, and telling me how long she's lived there, and how she went to Los Angeles for college, this, that, and the other. And so, yeah, weird conversation, but I think to myself, like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's a really weird obsession that they have, but old Japanese people love, like, schooling foreigners on their culture. Like, they love talking to you about their culture. Part of me sees it as a pride thing. The other part is like, it's a little bit racist and offensive in a way too. So like, yeah, they're like telling me stuff you already know. Like, for example, they'll be like, "Do you know that this item, whatever, comes from this city, or this is unique to Japan," whatever type thing. And so part of it's, it's a little bit cute, whatever, but it's that kind of thing. They like talking to you, telling you what to do, etc. I don't want to deal with a person that's just fed up with me, like a dirty, filthy foreigner type thing. Plus, when you go to Narita Airport, you're also dealing with tons of Japanese people that just got through dealing with tons of foreigners, meaning that you're not going to be dealing with the whole ghost seating, don't touch me, stay away from me. These people at the airport that you're around more than likely speak English too, so they can also help you out, because if they're at Narita Airport, there's a 99% chance they also came from an international flight too, meaning that they just came from abroad, meaning that they would like to talk to befriend foreigners, and they would like to help you if you need something. So just a small thing. For me, if you want a good impression of Japan, like how a lot of you Japan lovers want to have and get upset when people like me say bad things about Japan, then this is the airport to go with. You want to make things more complicated, you want to feel like you're a veteran, you're a seasoned Japanese person, whatever you want to call it, then fine, go to Haneda Airport. To me, it's not worth it, the little bit of money that you save for a dirtier, nastier airport that's a little bit closer. But if you're going to be here long term, you should of course go to both. But even although I've been in Japan for years, still from now on, I'm always going to go at Narita Airport. I don't think I ever plan to go back to Haneda Airport ever again. So that's that. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any more questions or comments you'd like to leave down below, please leave me a comment, send me an email if you have any questions that you have about airports or anything about life in Japan. You can also check out my playlist. I have tons of playlists and videos that you can watch, giving advice on everything from dating to working to living, in Japan or studying here, etc. Going to college, anything you could think of. I probably already have a video on it, so please search it. You can go to my channel's homepage and search keywords or playlists, etc. Other than that, you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Facebook fan page at Comic95 The Savior. You can also add me on Snapchat at Comic The Savior and follow me on TikTok at Comic The Savior as well. And I have a blog you can read at comic95.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video. Bye.